The night sky above the ruins of New York City glowed ominously with the eerie illumination from Zeltrak's patrol ships hovering above. Below, in the skeletal remains of once bustling streets, shadows moved stealthily, human figures, cloaked not only by the darkness but also by a palpable air of determination. Captain Alina Murov crouched behind the shattered facade of an old bank, her eyes scanning the dim horizon. Her voice, a calm whisper into the communicator, carried the weight of command. "All units, Echo Tango on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark." The sudden roar of explosives tore through the night, sending shockwaves across the broken concrete. As planned, the first bomb detonated directly beneath the nearest patrol ship, engulfing it in a ball of fire. Its descent was a fiery streak against the night, crashing into the earth with a ground-shaking thud. Chaos erupted among the alien forces as humans, men and women from what remained of Earth's military, emerged like phantoms from the ruins. They fired with precision, their weapons a mix of salvaged alien technology and Earth-made firearms. The battle was a dance of shadows and light, every move calculated yet fraught with peril. Alina sprinted from her cover, her figure lithe and swift. Her weapon discharged pulses of energy with a steady thrum, each shot finding its mark. Amid the chaos, her voice rang out, clear and authoritative, directing her forces with practiced ease. "Delta Team, move up. Bravo, cover the left flank." In the midst of the firefight, a tall figure clad in the metallic armor of the Zeltraks loomed before her. Its weapon, a high-energy particle beam, sizzled through the air, barely missing her as she rolled away. With a deft movement born of countless battles, Alina aimed and fired. The alien staggered, its armor compromised, and fell with a heavy clank against the rubble. Alina didn't pause to celebrate. Her eyes were scanning for the next threat, her mind always 2 steps ahead. Her communicator buzzed, and she responded without breaking stride. "Report." "We've secured the perimeter, Captain," came the crackling reply, the voice tinged with both adrenaline and respect. "But we've got bigger problems. Commander Zelak is on the field." The name sent a ripple of tension through her spine. Zelak, the Zeltrak's fleet commander, was notorious for his cruelty and strategic brilliance. If he was here, the stakes were higher than a simple patrol skirmish. "Understood," Alina responded, her voice steady. "Rally point Sigma. We need to regroup." As her team converged, blending into the darkness once more, Alina caught sight of the towering figure of Zelak cutting through the debris towards them. His armor was distinct, adorned with the glyphs of Zeltrak's command, and his eyes glowed with a malevolent red. With a motion to her team to stay hidden, she stepped forward. This was a calculated risk. Zelak was a prize too significant to pass up. She called out, challenging the alien commander. "Zelak, your fight is with me." Zelak paused, tilting his head, as if amused. "Alina Murov, the human pest. This night marks your end." Alina smirked, her every muscle coiled for action. "We'll see about that." Their confrontation was a clash of wills and weapons, echoing through the ruins, a testament to humanity's unyielding spirit, and the beginning of a night that would mark the first victory in their relentless fight for freedom. In the dimly lit confines of the Resistance's hidden base, a stark contrast to the chaotic battlegrounds of the city ruins, Captain Alina Murov stood across from her captive. The Zeltrak's officer, restrained in a makeshift chair, seemed out of place with his sleek metallic armor reflecting the flickering lights of the underground bunker. Alina studied the alien with a steely gaze, aware of the critical information he possessed. Her voice, calm and controlled, broke the silence. "You know why you're here. Tell us when the transport ships will arrive." The Zeltrak's officer, his skin a pale shade of blue that appeared almost luminescent under the bunker lights, smirked. "Do you think intimidation works on the Zeltrak's human?" Alina leaned in, her presence unyielding. "It's not intimidation when I'm simply confirming what I already intend to find out." She tapped on the digital device strapped to her wrist, bringing up a holographic display of the Earth, dotted with red points. "See, we know your ships are coming. We know your plans for the humans you abduct. What I need is a precise time." The officer's eyes darted to the hologram, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his features before he regained his composure. "Your resistance is futile. You should surrender and spare your species from extinction." Unfazed, Alina straightened and stepped back slightly. "We didn't choose this war, but we will certainly fight it. Your underestimation of us is your folly, not our weakness." As she spoke, another figure emerged from the shadows, Dr. Lena Choi, the group's chief intelligence officer. Dr. Choi carried a tablet, her expression grave. "Captain, we've intercepted communications. It's confirmed. The fleet arrives in 3 days." Alina turned back to the officer. "3 days," she echoed, her tone now a mix of urgency and opportunity. "That's all you needed to say." The officer's composure finally cracked, his earlier arrogance shifting to grudging respect. "What do you plan to do, human? You cannot possibly think you can stop us." Alina smiled thinly. "Watch us." As she motioned for the guards to take the officer away, Dr. Choi approached her, concern etched on her face. "Alina, even with this information, the odds are against us. Are we really prepared for what comes next?" Alina's response was firm, filled with the resolve that had defined her leadership. "Prepare the teams. It's not about the odds. It's about making enough of a stand to make a difference. This is our chance to strike back, not just to slow them down, but to send a message." Dr. Choi nodded, the resolve in Alina's voice igniting a spark of hope within her own doubts. "I'll inform the others. We'll be ready." As Alina watched the officer being led away, her mind raced with the weight of the impending confrontation. This was more than just a battle. It was a statement of humanity's unyielding spirit. The next 3 days would determine the fate of their resistance, perhaps even of humanity itself. But in that moment, one thing was clear. They were not going down without a fight. Beneath the ruins of what was once bustling Chicago, now a major hub for the human resistance, Captain Alina Mirov convened a meeting with the leaders of various cells scattered across the remnants of the United States. The walls of the cavernous underground room, lined with maps and digital screens, flickered with the soft glow of candlelight, an ironic nod to humanity's regression and resilience. "Thank you all for coming," Alina began, her voice echoing slightly in the vast chamber. Her eyes scanned the room, meeting those of her fellow leaders, each one scored battle-weary yet unbroken. "We have 3 days before the Zeltrax fleet attempts to haul away more of our people. Our plan is not just to stop them, but to seize one of their ships." Murmurs of approval mixed with apprehensive glances followed her words. Unfazed by the gravity of her proposal, Alina continued, "We've captured a high-ranking officer and confirmed the arrival time. This is our best chance to strike at the heart of their operation." A grizzled veteran, Commander Jackson, leaned forward, his hands clasped tightly. "That's a tall order, Captain. Even with the element of surprise, taking a Zeltrax ship is something we've never done." Alina nodded, acknowledging his concern. "I know, Jackson, but we've also never been this desperate." She tapped on the holographic display, bringing up the schematics of the alien ship they intended to target. "Dr. Choi has decrypted part of their communications. We have a plan." Dr. Lena Choi stepped forward, replacing Elena at the front. "Based on the intercepted data, we've identified a weakness in their hangar-based security during the crew's shift change. It's a small window, but it's all we need." Lieutenant Morales, a younger leader known for her prowess in electronic warfare, chimed in. "I've assembled a tech team that can jam their communications temporarily. It won't give us long, but long enough to board the ship and take control of the bridge." The room filled with tense energy as the leaders digested the plan. Elena could see the gears turning, the calculated risks being weighed against the potential monumental reward. "We'll need every skilled fighter we have," Elena stated, locking eyes with each cell leader, "and every piece of tech and firepower you can spare." Commander Jackson finally nodded, his expression hardening with resolve. "You have my squad, Elena. We've been through hell and back. Might as well take a piece of their heaven." Laughter, tinged with nervous energy, briefly lightened the room's atmosphere. Elena smiled, grateful for the brief moment of levity. "We all have something to fight for. Our families, our homes, our planet. Let's remind these aliens why you never corner a desperate enemy." As the meeting concluded, the leaders dispersed to prepare their respective teams. Elena stayed behind, reviewing the ship's blueprints one last time. Dr. Choi approached her, concern evident in her eyes. "Elena, are you sure about this? It's more dangerous than anything we've attempted before." Elena looked up, her gaze steady and unwavering. "It's not about certainty, Elena. It's about necessity. We either live free or not at all. This is our stand, and I need you with me, not just in mind, but in belief." Dr. Choi nodded, inspired by Elena's fervor. "Then, let's make sure we come back with a ship." As Elena left the room to join her team, the weight of leadership settled on her shoulders, not just as a burden, but as a mantle she was determined to bear with honor. This was more than a mission. It was a turning point in their war for survival. The cold void of space loomed ominously as Elena and her elite strike team approached the Zeltrax mothership, cloaked in a stolen alien shuttle. The vast ship, a behemoth of metal and glowing energy, hung silently against the backdrop of Earth, oblivious to the impending threat. Alina's gaze was fixed on the holographic display, charting their stealthy approach. Beside her, Lieutenant Morales monitored the communication jamming equipment. Jamming in 3, 2, 1, now. The cabin lights flickered briefly as their shuttle became invisible to the Zeltrax radar. "Everyone, this is it," Alina said, her voice firm, commanding. "Check your gear and stay sharp. We may only get one shot at this." The team, comprised of seasoned veterans and skilled tech specialists, nodded, verifying their weapons and cloaking devices. As they neared the hangar bay, the colossal doors loomed ahead, daunting in their enormity. Morales turned to Alina, her expression tense yet focused. "We're in their blind spot. Deploying the hacking module now." Her fingers danced over the controls, sending out the coded pulse that would trick the hangar doors into opening. With a silent hiss, the doors parted, allowing the shuttle to slip inside undetected. The hangar was dimly lit and filled with rows of alien craft. The team disembarked swiftly, melding in the shadows. Alina led the way, her eyes vigilantly scanning for patrols. "Split up according to plan. Blue team, you're with me. We head for the bridge. Red team, secure our exit. Green team, start planting those explosives. Remember, timing is crucial." As Blue team advanced through the labyrinthine corridors of the mothership, the enormity of their task became palpable. Each corner turned could reveal the enemy. Yet the halls remained eerily quiet, punctuated only by their muted footsteps and the distant hum of the ship's engines. Suddenly, a low alert sounded. Alina stopped, signaling her team to take cover. An alien patrol comprising 3 Zeltrax soldiers rounded the corner, their eyes sweeping the area. Alina exchanged a glance with her second-in-command, Sergeant Hawk. With a silent nod, they sprang into action. Precision shots from their silenced weapons neutralized the patrol before an alarm could be raised. "Move quickly," Alina whispered, leading her team deeper into the bowels of the ship. Meanwhile, Green team methodically set explosives at strategic points. Their leader, Specialist Wren, communicated quietly, charges set at points 1 through 3, moving to the final position. Nearing their objective, Alina's team reached the bridge's access doors. Morales, equipped with a compact hacking device, began to bypass the security code. "Almost there," she murmured. The door clicked open, and they burst onto the bridge, catching the alien crew unprepared. A swift, intense skirmish ensued, but Alina's team, trained through countless simulations, prevailed with precision. With the bridge secured, Alina accessed the ship's control panel. Her fingers adeptly navigated the alien interface, now commandeered. "Morales, send the signal to Green team. It's time." Outside, the silent void of space was shattered by explosions as the charges detonated, crippling the mothership's propulsion systems. Alina surveyed her team, their faces illuminated by the glow of the bridge consoles. "This ship is ours," she declared, a fierce pride resonating in her voice. "Now let's finish this and get home." As the team prepared to steer the captured ship toward Earth, their spirits were weighed down by the cost of their mission, yet uplifted by the undeniable truth. Humanity would no longer cower in the shadows. Today they had struck a blow that would resonate across the galaxies. Aboard the commandeered Zeltrax mothership, now under human control and adrift in the vastness of space, Captain Alina Murov faced her greatest challenge yet. The bridge, once a hub of alien activity, was eerily silent except for the low hum of the damaged systems and the intermittent communications between her team members. Alina stood before the main console, her eyes fixed on the star-studded expanse beyond the viewport. The air was tense with anticipation. "Prepare for their counterattack," she instructed, her voice echoing slightly in the vast chamber. No sooner had she spoken than a series of alarms blared through the ship. The Zeltrax, realizing the extent of the infiltration, were mobilizing to reclaim their vessel. "Incoming," Sergeant Hawk shouted, monitoring the ship's security feed. Multiple squads, armed and heading this way. The team braced for impact, taking defensive positions around the bridge's entry points. Alina checked her weapon, her resolve as steely as the blade she carried. This was the moment of truth, the culmination of their daring mission. The first wave of Zeltrax soldiers stormed the bridge with ferocious intensity. Blaster fire lit up the dim room, casting long, menacing shadows against the walls. Alina and her team responded with disciplined volleys, their training and sheer determination turning the tide in their favor, one fallen alien at a time. Amid the chaos, a towering figure emerged, Commander Zilok himself, his armor scarred from battle but his presence as menacing as ever. Alina Marov, Ibun, his voice cutting through the din of combat. This ends now. Alina stepped forward, her eyes never leaving Zilok. This ends, but not the way you think, Zilok. We are not the weaklings you believed us to be. With a roar, Zilok charged, his weapon a blaze of destructive energy. Alina dodged, her movements precise, and countered with a series of strategic shots. The duel was a dance of death, each participant a mirror of fury and desperation. As they fought, Alina's team continued to hold back the alien forces, but it was clear they were outnumbered. In a pivotal moment, realizing the potential cost of this standoff, Alina spotted a structural weakness in the bridge, a power conduit exposed during the earlier skirmish. With a calculated risk, she feinted a move that drew Zilok closer to the conduit. Then, with a well-placed shot, she ignited it. The explosion was instantaneous, engulfing Zilok in a fiery vortex that threw him back, severely wounded and defeated. As silence finally fell over the bridge, Alina staggered, exhausted but victorious. Her team rallied around her, their faces a mix of awe and relief. "Let's go home," she said, her voice soft but filled with the weight of their victory. As the mothership, now under human command, set its course back to Earth, Alina looked out at the stars. They had won, but at a great cost. This victory was not just a battle won, but a declaration to the universe. Humanity would never stand down. The reclaimed Zeltrax mothership, now a symbol of human defiance and resilience, glided through the cosmos toward Earth. The aftermath of their improbable victory enveloped the crew in reflective silence as they approached the blue and green planet that had endured so much. Captain Alina Murov stood at the helm, her gaze fixed on the horizon that was slowly suffused with the golden light of Earth's sunrise. The weight of what they had achieved, and the sacrifices made, was evident in her tired but resolute eyes. Dr. Lena Choi approached Alina, her voice breaking the quiet. "We get it, Alina. We're almost home." Alina nodded, her response soft yet imbued with a steely undertone. "Yes, we are. But this is just the beginning, Lena. We've shown them what we're capable of. Now, we need to prepare for what comes next." The ship entered Earth's atmosphere, the gentle rumble a stark contrast to the violent clashes that had dominated their recent lives. As they descended, Alina addressed her wearied but victorious team over the ship's communication system. "Everyone, I know this victory has come at great cost. We mourn those we've lost, and we honor them with every breath we take in freedom. Today marks a new chapter for humanity." The ship landed amidst the ruins of what was once a bustling spaceport. The Earth that greeted them bore the scars of the invasion, but there was something else, a sense of hope among the ruins, as news of their victory spread and survivors emerged to greet them. A crowd had gathered, their faces weary but brightened by the sight of the mothership, now a beacon of resistance. Alina stepped out onto the cracked landing platform, her presence commanding as she was met with cheers and salutes from the crowd. She raised her hand, calling for silence before speaking. "This ship," she began, gesturing to the imposing structure behind her, "was once a symbol of our oppression. Today, it stands as proof of our strength. We must use this victory not just to celebrate, but to galvanize our efforts. Rebuild not just our homes, but our resolve." Alina's gaze swept over the crowd, her voice firm. "Let's rebuild our world together, not just to survive, but to thrive. Not just for us, but for future generations. This is our legacy." As the crowd erupted in renewed cheers, Alina felt a mixture of pride and the enormity of the task ahead. They had won the battle, but the war for their planet's future was just beginning. As she joined her people in the celebrations, her heart was both heavy and hopeful. Today, humanity had not just survived, it had prevailed.